Hey there. Greetings from Phoenix, Arizona and the Valley of the Sun. Old guy in a Tesla here, and I'm a big fan of full self-driving. My mission is to excite you about this technology and show you what you can expect. I have extensive experience in software development and data analysis, as this is what I do in my real life. I will be using a 2024 Model Y with version 12.5.1.3. With each new release, we'll go to several destinations using an unedited recording of the drive. At the end of each video, I'll provide a rating of autonomous ride quality. We'll then have a running data-driven comparison for each version. I will do my best not to touch the controls, even if it's making me crazy by driving too slow or making unnecessary lane changes. The whole point of this is to experience full self-driving as if the car was fully autonomous. All right, buckle up and let's go on today's drive. In this video, we're returning to the Whole Foods at Camelback and 20th Street. It's about a 20-minute trip, and I like this destination because it uses city and highway driving. I didn't expect this experience to be much different from the last version, as it's only a build release and has no new features. I suspect this release has more to do with the internal testing of full self-driving software on Hardware 3 vehicles. And given what's in the press at the time of this recording, release to these vehicles seems imminent. As an example of few changes in this version, it still goes around this circle in the same incorrect manner. Although I did notice the turn signal came on this time, indicating a right turn. It's not clear if that's for coming out of the driveway or for going around the circle. Technically, it's a left onto 2nd Avenue. At the turn on Roosevelt, we see confusion like last time, only much worse. The steering wheel jiggles more. We're about to make the turn. You can see 4 miles per hour on the screen before the system decides against making the turn and stops. And there was plenty of room, as there wasn't another car coming until after it really stopped. There does appear to be a ghost image that I think was created by the system being confused between cars traveling to our left and those parked along the street. Coming up to the no turn on red intersection at 7th Street, I was really hoping this was going to work this time since I haven't been here since this version downloaded. But alas, it was just a lot of traffic. As soon as it clears, the car runs the red light by making an illegal right turn on red. And this turned out to be a really long light. Here we have the same behavior as last time. The system executes a really smooth turn onto the highway and starts to pick up speed. But then when it gets to this transition, it slows down even though there are no cars in the area. There was even a lead car in front of us, and we had the light on 7th Avenue. It's probably a safety precaution given this type of ramp, but it's still annoying to any driver that might be following us. Nothing really to point out here as we go through the Deck Park Tunnel other than it's a very smooth ride and the system is executing these lane changes very nicely. There are a couple of phantom turn signals, but that could be chalked up to changes in the traffic flow. We continue to move to the left to get out of the line of heavy traffic. I think it handles this section of the highway really well. This is a really complicated interchange. Ahead, I-10 splits Route 51 and the 202 on our right. To the left is an HOV lane, also for the 202. There's a lot going on here, as you can see in the Google Maps view of the mini stack, as it's called, although nobody in Phoenix calls it that. Well, at least nobody I know. It does get back over to the lane we need in order to exit the 51 a tad bit early, but since there's good traffic flow, it's not that annoying. It completes the exit onto the 51 with a quick turn signal, which is nice. I do feel like it travels in the right-hand lane on the highway here just a little too long. It's kind of a personal preference, but in my experience, it does make sense to be as far away as possible from cars entering and exiting the highway. However, In these situations, I try to keep in mind that part of using full self-driving is understanding the fact it's just not going to drive the way I would. But that doesn't make it any less annoying. The only reason the system does finally move out of the right-hand lane is because the traffic in that lane is going too slow. Funny though, as soon as we change lanes, the traffic starts to speed up. Typical. Exiting off the 51 and onto Highland is a nice smooth transition. It picks the rightmost lane, which is exactly what I would have done because it's a bit of a chaotic intersection, even though both lanes are turning right and the outer lane is really what we need after the turn. This turn is exactly how I would have executed it, although it doesn't actually stop once the car in front of us makes the turn. We briefly come to a complete stop, but the car in front is still there. Once the car in front completes the turn, the system goes through and turns onto Highland. My assumption is there was enough visibility to the left to see we could complete the turn safely. And it's still accelerating too quickly out of the turn in my opinion. Part of that might be that the pavement in this lane is very rough, making it even more annoying, but I'm going to let my ruling stand. The turn onto 20th Street was very smooth. You can see there was a car traveling towards us, but it was far enough down the street that the system judged it could safely make the turn, and I would agree. It was a nice, smooth turn. As we pull into the Whole Foods parking lot, it does not make the same mistake it did last time, using the closest aisle, which happens to be in the wrong direction. However, it does get confused because the system does want to use that same aisle, and you can see it in the steering wheel. The system continues to the next aisle only because there's a car already in the aisle it wants to go down. When it does make the turn down the next aisle, the car continues to the entrance of Whole Foods without another incident. And that's a wrap with another fully autonomous drive completed successfully without intervention. There are a couple of differences from the last version, 12.5.1.1, but I wouldn't be excited about it. It's a 5-point difference, which is about a 10% improvement, and it's only because another car was in the way at the Whole Foods parking lot. Everything else was the same or very similar, and I wouldn't expect anything different without a substantial version number change. And the good news is, it appears that the new version didn't break anything. In subsequent weeks, we'll have a comparison score for each drive, and that will provide a good indication on progress, hopefully. Feedback is great, so anything constructive will be appreciated. Thank you for watching this old guy in a Tesla. I hope you have a pleasant week and be sure to have fun while you're driving.